We start off today with the fact that the body cam footage of the brutal beating of Tyree Nichols by 5 Memphis, Tennessee police officers that killed him has been released, and it shows that brutal beating. Now, I've made the decision not to show it on the show today, but in the description of this video, if you're watching on YouTube, there will be a link and you can watch for yourself a CNN breakdown of that body cam footage. That is so horrifying. But let's walk through some details here from CBS. 5 former Memphis police officers have been fired and charged with murder in the death of Tyre Nichols, a black man who died 3 days after being beaten in a traffic stop in early January. Disturbing video footage of Nichols' violent arrest was released Friday evening. Nichols, a 29-year-old who worked at FedEx, was the father of a 4-year-old boy, the youngest of 4 siblings. He was especially close with his mother. He has been described by friends and family as joyful and spiritual, and he was an avid skateboarder and photographer. And then we will skip forward here to a little bit about the footage that has now been released. 4 videos were released Friday, including footage from police body cameras and street surveillance cameras. They show officers first removing Nichols from his vehicle after pulling him over, an initial struggle when Nichols breaks loose and runs away from the officers, and the disturbing images of Nichols being restrained and beaten by 5 officers at an intersection. The videos show Nichols being kicked and punched in the head while being restrained, pepper sprayed, and struck multiple times with a baton. And then a little bit more of reporting on this here from NBC News. The 5 police officers, their names are here, were fired on January 20th after an administrative investigation found they had violated department policy on the use of force. They were charged Thursday with second-degree murder, 2 counts of official misconduct, 2 counts of aggravated kidnapping, 1 count of official oppression, and 1 count of aggravated assault. Like Nichols, all 5 former officers were black. So charged with murder, and you don't see that so often in these types of situations. And so hopefully the proper amount of accountability will be brought down in regard to this, but just horrible stuff. Quickly, we'll go through the statement that President Biden released on this, at least this last paragraph. We must do everything in our power to ensure our criminal justice system lives up to the promise of fair and impartial justice, equal treatment and dignity for all. Real and lasting change will only come if we take action to prevent tragedies like this from ever happening again. That is why I called on Congress to send the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act to my desk. When Senate Republicans blocked that bill, I signed an executive order that mandated stricter use of force standards and accountability provisions for federal law enforcement, as well as measures to strengthen accountability at the state and local level. So change has been necessary. Calls for change have been present on this issue for so long. And so to see time and time again, year after year, no change occur on the federal level that is significant enough and that is impactful enough is so enraging. And as Biden noted in that statement, Republicans, for example, have obstructed the George Floyd Justice in Policing Act that would have been a necessary step in the direction of that necessary change. And so we have to continue pushing, we have to continue calling for that change, even though, similar to what I say with gun violence and the gun control conversation, it can feel hopeless when we watch tragedy after tragedy like this that reveals the deep and profound issues in our systems. And even though it feels hopeless, we still have to continue pushing and continue calling for change that is so necessary.